I'm attorney Sabrina Brown Taylor. I am the founder of The Disability Teacher. It is an online education course that trains non-lawyers for careers as Social Security disability advocates. So today I'm working on online filing of the appointment of representative form and the fee agreement between my firm and my client. So the appointment of representative form is also known as a 1696, and the fee agreement form is known as a 1693. So within the last year, probably, Social Security has allowed us to actually access these forms online and complete these forms electronically. So I'm sorry, not just allowing them to be accessible online. The forms were always accessible online, but now we can actually file these forms electronically. And that has really been a game changer for my firm. It allows me to get these forms signed quickly, electronically with my clients, instead of having to mail these forms to my clients, get their signatures on them, have those forms returned, and then having to either mail or upload those forms to the Social Security portal. So it just makes everything so much quicker. So usually within a week's time, I'll get notification from Social Security that they have processed the forms. And what that means to me and my client is that I am listed as their representative sooner. So that if there's something that Social Security, some moves that Social Security is making, for example, setting up an appointment or an evaluation for my client with one of their consultative doctors or psychiatrists or psychologists, it allows me to also get that notification, because sometimes if I'm waiting to get those forms in, then Social Security or DDS, Disability Determination Services, is contacting my client and communicating with my client, and I'm not aware of it because those forms have not been processed. So it's just really important to get those forms processed as soon as you can. And so being able to do it now electronically really helps out a great deal. So that is what I'm doing now. And the way that the process works is that I access the form online, the electronic form online. I complete my portion of the form, which includes my representative ID, my client's information, just their name, and then I have to include my name, my firm's address, and of course I have to include my tax ID number as a representative, and then I complete it, I submit it. And once that is submitted, my client then gets notification. I apologize, let me back up. So let me back up. So what I have to do to actually start the form is that I have to first find the form online, and I'm able to find that form at ssa.gov/representatives. And let's say that I'm doing the appointment of representative form, the 1696. So what I have to do is access that form online, the electronic form online, and I enter my email address, the representative's email address, and then I enter my client's email address, the claimant's email address. Once I do that, you have to set up a password. That's very important. You have to set up a password so that you're able to access the actual form later. So right now, you're just entering contact information, email addresses. So I enter the email addresses, I set up my password that I will use as well as my client, and then I submit that form. Once that form is submitted, then I get an email from the Social Security Administration through Adobe Sign. So once I get the email is saying you have a form that you need to complete. And the form that I need to complete, like I said, is the 1696 appointment of representative form. So I'm able to complete this form electronically online. And the information that I have to enter is my representative ID. And if you are, you should have completed the 1699. If you are a disability representative, you should have completed that form 1699. And if you have, you will have a representative's ID. So I enter that ID information. Then I enter my client's name. Then I enter my name as a representative, my business address, as well as my mailing address. And then if I want to enter my firm's information, I enter my firm's information. I also notify Social Security to let them know on this form what type of case I'm representing the claimant for. So if it is a Title II case, which is the SSDI case, Social Security Disability Insurance case, or if it is a Title 16 SSI case, or if they're concurrent. Those are usually the type of cases that I answer, or those are usually the type of cases that I handle. So I have to check those three marks. and then I answer no for the other ones. And the other ones are disability review, post entitlement, and a couple other things. I think Medicare. So I check no. I check those boxes for no. And I think the next thing that I have to enter is my initials, and then I have to inform Social Security whether I'm an attorney, non-attorney representative requesting direct pay, or a non-attorney representative not requesting direct pay, and or if I'm waiving the fee. So you have a couple of different boxes that you can check with that as well. So it just depends on what applies to you. But once I complete that box, then I enter my initials and I enter my signature. Once I enter my signature, I click submit, and then my client will be notified that there's a form, a 6096, that's waiting for their signature, for their completion and their signature. So Adobe Sign sends that information to my clients. They're able to fill out everything electronically. So they will have to include their Social Security number, their mailing address, and that should be all that my client has to complete on the 1696, the appointment of representative form. And once they do that, they sign, and then I get notification that the form has been completed. And so I'm able to download it, save it in my records. And like I said, so far within maybe about a week's time, I've been getting notification from Social Security that those forms have been processed. And I'm listed immediately as the attorney of representative for that, for my client. So when I first did the process, I wasn't able to access the fee agreement. So usually I'm using, let me get it right. I'm using Microsoft Edge. But I noticed with Microsoft Edge, I have difficulty accessing the fee agreement, the electronic fee agreement. So I usually use Firefox when I'm accessing the fee agreement. So I'm getting to remember to use Firefox to access the 1696 and the 1693. So anyway, after my client has completed the 1696, like I said, I get notification that that has been done. I download that information. I save it in my client's electronic file. And so then I do the fee agreement. The fee agreement, you start off the same way. You enter your information as the representative, and then you enter your email address as the representative, and then you enter your client's email address as the claimant. Once you do that, again, you enter the same password that you had already created before. So I enter my client's password. So it's very important that when you first generate that password, that you write it down somewhere that you're able to access it at a later time, and also be able to forward it to your client. So once I enter that information, it will also tell you, and this is the same with the 1696, you will also get notification or information that this is your deadline that the form has to be completed. And if I'm not mistaken, the fee agreement, you have 10 days to complete it, and the appointment of representative, you have 5. If I have that in reverse, I apologize, but I know it's 5 and 10 days to have these forms totally completed. If you don't have them completed, then you have to start the process over again. So with the 1693, the fee agreement, I enter my email address, my client's email address, I create a password, and then I submit that to Social Security. Again, I'll get an email from Social Security stating that you have made this request. So here's the fee agreement. Complete the fee agreement. You sign the fee agreement, and then we'll send it over to your client. So with the fee agreement, and this is new, I'm usually, for the last 20 years, I've always used my own fee agreement. So using Social Security's fee agreement is a new process for me as well. So in this, they also ask for the representative ID number. So I enter that. Then I enter my name and my mailing address, and I enter what the fee agreement is. And Social Security, on the document, it has it filled out what the fee agreement is, because we all know that it's a set agreement. And so it states that you're charging 25%, no more than $6,000. But what I do like about it is that it does state that if that amount changes per statute, then you're entitled to whatever that new amount is. And that's something that's not included in my fee agreement. So to have that is really helpful, because it's my understanding that there's a possibility that there may be a change in the amount of the representative's fee. So it allows me with this client, if I'm able to receive more than $6,000 as a representative, it does leave area for that to be increased. I'm not stuck at that $6,000 amount. So once you check that off, and that you don't have an escrow account, or you do have an escrow account set up for your client. I don't have an escrow account set up for my client when I'm dealing with Social Security matters. And there was one other issue. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but if you're representing your client just to a certain level, let's say that you're only going to do the application, then you can mark that you're only doing the application. Or if you're going to represent the individual for the appeal, the reconsideration, or if you're only going to represent the individual at the hearing level, you can check whichever box is more appropriate for you, or if it does not apply, you can mark not applicable. So after I go through that process, I wish I had it right in front of me. I can tell you exactly what it is. But once I go through that process with the fee agreement and what level of representation it is, I think the next thing I'm supposed to do is just sign. So again, you sign it electronically, just typing your name in, and you press submit. And once that is submitted, then Adobe Sign will notify your client that they have a form that is waiting for them to complete. And that information goes to your client, and then your client has to complete and enter their Social Security number, enter their name, and enter their address. And also, there was one other thing that I did not mention. There's a section in the form where you do have to state whether you are the primary representative or if there are other representatives as well. I'm always a primary representative. I have not had a case to arise where I had other representatives, but that may change. So that the information is there. So if you're primary representative and there's others, you want to make sure that you enter that space as well. I think it's section 2. Other than that, the client enters their information, and once they enter their information, then they submit the form back to Social Security or back to Adobe Sign. And again, I receive an email saying that your form is complete. I'm able to download the completed form and save it in my client's file. And so because it's still a new process to me, I give Social Security at least 2 weeks before. If I don't hear anything, then I follow up with them. But I have not had an issue with getting a letter stating that my 1696 and fee agreement have been processed, and I'm listed as the attorney of representative for my client. And this is wonderful, especially for cases where you're representing, it's still early on in the case. You're still at the application and waiting to hear something, or you're at the recon and waiting to hear something back from Social Security or DDS. To already have your name listed on that and being able to access the records in ERE, it just makes the process so far seamless. So I'm really, really happy about that. So if you have any other questions about electronically filing your 1696 appointment of representative form or your 1693 fee agreement form electronically through Social Security Administration, give me a call. I can be reached at 919-568-9965, or even better, just leave a comment in the section below. Whatever your question is, let me know what that is. And you can also access me through the Disability Teacher. Our website is thedisabilityteacher.com. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop me a line again in the comments, or you can find me on my website and you can set up an appointment to talk with me if you're interested in getting more information about this course. This course is wonderful, preparing individuals to answer these questions where you don't get the training as a disability advocate. So we're addressing all of these issues, the 1696, the 1693, and so much more. I look forward to hearing from you. Take care.